G'day and welcome again to the Campfire Project. And today I have with me Maria Van Vuklis from The Conscious CEO. Maria is a business coach and a trainer in neuro-linguistic programming. How are you, Maria?
I'm well, thanks. Thanks for having me on the show, Alan.
Oh, you're welcome. We chatted a little while ago and I was really interested in what you're doing in how you're helping people today, because NLP, as they call it, neuro-linguistic programming, is quite a powerful tool. But before we get into how you're helping people, what I'd like to know is a little bit more about Maria.
Yeah, sure. So I am a trainer and business coach in NLP, and I do a number of other modalities. But if we want to rewind all the way back to about 15 years ago, I started in the health industry as a nutritionist and personal trainer, and I have a real passion for holistic health as well. So I went into that industry to be able to help people in a number of different areas, on a physical level and on a mental level, and was in business for about 10 years myself in clinic. And then from there, I left that and went into the police force, into a completely different industry. During my time there, I realized how much stress and how people are not really conscious about looking after themselves, and also how they communicate, especially in that industry as well. So that was really insightful. But one thing I did notice when I was in there was that my health started to deteriorate, my mental health started to deteriorate because of the high demand stress, the job that it is. And that caused me to leave the job because I felt as though it wasn't fulfilling, and I was still looking for that one thing that not only gave me purpose, but also put the fire in my belly to continue to do what I wanted to do to make a difference in this world. So then I left and I started my personal development journey with NLP. I went to a Tony Robbins event because I was going through some stuff in my own life with relationships, within work, and just trying to find my own path as well. And I deep dive into that, and I wanted to know more about what he specifically does, and that kind of led me into the neuro-linguistic programming path and hypnosis, and I am where I am now. So now I help businesses, not only on a business strategy aspect, but also on a physical aspect, in looking after themselves to be able to perform at their peak and at their best. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
And how long have you been, as you said, it was 15 years ago that you started with into the health side of things. How long were you with the police for?
I was in the police for 3 years in Sydney.
No, that would have been quite a stressful location, because what part of Sydney were you working in?
I was in Fairfield, which is the busiest police station in all of Sydney metropolitan area. So 1 year there is equivalent to 3 years anywhere else in Sydney metropolitan. So I saw a lot and I learnt a lot, and I grew a lot, and I realised how much I loved the job, but I wasn't passionate about what I was doing.
That's one of the biggest issues, and you got to really love what you're doing. Otherwise, it just it becomes a hard track to walk.
Absolutely, and I think that is an important factor in knowing your why and why you're doing what you're doing. Absolutely.
And that was one of the things, we go through life and we seem to spend a long time trying to find our purpose, and some people never actually find it. They go to the grave having worked in a job that they haven't enjoyed at all. So being able to find and make decisions, finding the right sort of techniques to be able to do that is a real chore. As you said, you started out with Anthony Robbins. How did you find all of that?
It was just by chance, actually. I saw an event on Facebook, and I was curious to know about that. I had heard someone talk about it somewhere before that. And I was going through a broken relationship at the time, and I was not in a good place mentally. So I was just looking at something that could potentially give me insight in myself. And I was curious to know more about what he does specifically.
Yeah, so what did you like the most about it? Because this is the thing. I know that we go into different modalities, but it's some people go down one path, others go down other paths, even though we start at the same point. So with the work that Tony does, what sort of things in there really attracted you? What was the part that you liked the most?
It was the transformation process over the 3 days. So the firewalk is a big component of that specific event. And a lot of people that now what I know now, and looking back then, the firewalk is definitely something that can be in people's journey to realize that they can actually do anything, and what they perceive they cannot do is just simply that they've something that they've created in their own mind that's preventing them and stopping them from doing what they actually want to do.
And that's the thing. Is I know a lot of people look at the firewalk as a gimmick, but I did mine with with him back in the mid 1990s, and it is transforming. But and that's one of the things. People looking, as I said, would say, well, that's a bit of a gimmick. He's putting people across all of this. He's putting people in danger and everything else. What were your feelings about it when you first went across? What were you thinking?
Oh, I was excited. I was empowered and inspired, and just the environment that you're in at that time, it puts you in a state where you feel unstoppable, and that's the specific words that he used. And looking back on it now, the whole firewalk is just simply a metaphor that you can actually break through anything. And that's in one of the courses that I run, we do a book break, and that's another version of that specifically to get people to see that they can break through anything and achieve whatever they want.
It certainly does. It opens the door up to the way that you're thinking. It changes the limitations you've had on yourself. But then the next point from there is to take it forward. Because I know a lot of people who have been through the firewalks haven't really done anything with their life after that. That was as far as they sort of got. It was the excitement of that. And I think a lot of them actually missed, as you said, it's a metaphor, and missed that metaphor and what the lesson was supposed to be. So taking that to the next level then is the next stage, which is when it comes into the work you do on yourself, more so than the work that's being done on you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's a lot of people that do these courses and go to the train, and what I call is they just put the book back on the shelf and it just sits there. So it's all about the implementation afterwards when you do attend these sort of things, to be able to take action and create the change that you want in your life, utilizing the new knowledge that you do know. And that's one thing I love about NLP. It's not just about the hype that's created, which is what you get at these sort of events. It's actually looking at it on a much more deeper structure, in knowing what profound change and sustainable change that it can create long term, not just in the now of what you're being told to do right now.
Yeah, and that it's the work then. It's how you help somebody else, and is going to determine their directions, what they've been through and where they're heading. So how do you incorporate that when you're working with someone? Can you give us a few examples of how you use the process of NLP?
Yeah, sure. So there's a number of tools that we do use to be able to uncover what someone's why is, or what their purpose is. And a lot of these are around specific linguistic tools that we do use. Part of NLP, the L in the NLP is linguistics, and it's a big component. So we use things like quantum linguistics to cause them to think differently in ways that they've never thought before. And we have this thing called chunking up, chunking down, which is, going up to abstract specifics, but lateral thinking as well, which a lot of people do not have the flexibility to know how to be able to do. So the questions that we ask are specific, structured in a way to be able to cause them to think in various different directions to uncover the answers within themselves, rather than as a coach to be able to give them the answers. So it's all about them uncovering what they already know within themselves that they're not conscious about right now. And what that does, it leads to the next step in being able to identify what limitations or what belief systems they might have, what are their motivations, and if there's anything within that that's inhibiting them or preventing them from being able to take out on what they want specifically in their why or what their purpose is, to be able to change that and modify that to be able to get them in a place where they're much more resourced in making new decisions and taking actions to get to where they want to go to.
Right. So with the well, first of all, as you said, finding their whys, and is there a particular way in which you find that, help them to find it? Because most people come to you, if you say, what do you want out of your life? Where do you want to go? They just go, what? They just can't bring it together. So how do you help people to uncover what their why is?
Yeah, sure. So there's one tool that we use in NLP, and it's called the Keys to Achievable Outcomes. So there's 9 steps in that specific, and it's just a series of questions, right? And the first question is, what specifically do you want? It's simple as that. And then it goes through a series of questions in uncovering how they want to get it, what resources do they need, where are they now? What time frame do they want to be able to achieve it? It could be in any context of life. It's not in any specific, it could be work, could be health, it could be finance, business, anything. And we all have to have a percent of why in various different contexts of life to feel whole and to feel aligned and congruent in the actions that we take. One of those other things is to ensure that the environment that they're in is supporting what they're wanting to achieve and where they're wanting to go to be able to craft their path. Another very aspect that we look at is what their values are. Because if their values aren't aligned to what they want to achieve, it's going to inhibit them or slow down the actual process in where they're wanting to get to. So uncovering what's important to them specifically, getting clear on what that is, in changing those values, let's say, in a different hierarchy, to be able to be motivated to make decisions based on those values specifically. So for example, if someone is wanting to start a business, they're wanting to leave their 9 to 5 because they've decided, no, my purpose is to be able to pave my own path, to create my own journey, and I want to do that through business. However, they may have in their values where sales and marketing and talking to people isn't within that. They may just have helping people or creating planetary change, or following a system that can give them the results. It doesn't have anything in there about sales. So you've got to have something to do with results, sales in your values to be able to shift you in creating decisions, making decisions specifically within that to create that, to start taking action on that.
Yeah, because a lot of people see sales as or treat it as a dirty word, but really just about everything in life is sales. Building
Absolutely.
a personal
Absolutely.
relationship, getting your kids to eat their broccoli, for instance, there's a sale and a half.
Even parents with their own kids, the kids are selling to their parents to get what they want. That's just another version of the sales process. So we're always doing sales, just in different contexts, different ways to be able to do it. And that's part of the purpose of getting what you want, is being able to negotiate and being able to communicate in a way to be able to get what you want in life, and feel that purpose and feel that why in creating more.
Yeah, so actually teaching people that just about everything they do in life is a sale, getting them to convert their way of thinking around sales can be a job and a half as well.
Absolutely.
Because people will fight that one. They go, no, it's not sales. It's not sales. Well, I'm sorry, it is. But you can't just tell them that.
And that's part of the belief structure, the belief that they're in, and getting them to shift that perspective to see it in a much more different way. That's much more resourceful, that they can make better decisions from.
Yeah. Okay. So, what sort of clients do you find that you work with a lot? What's your main? Is there a main area, or is it just a broad scope? What sort of people do you work with?
So in one-on-one coaching, I work with business owners, anyone in business really. But I do, in my business, I do one-to-one coaching, and I also run the live trainings as well. So in my one-to-one coaching, I get business owners that come to me in the health industry, in business coaching, in finance, in consulting as well. And they'll come to me for things to do with business, but they'll discover that there are other areas in their life that they can actually create change that can accelerate their performance in their business. So things around health, relationships, finance specifically, even just within their own personal growth and their own mindset. And in the trainings, I run trainings specifically designed for business owners. Now, NLP certification trainings, there is a framework for everyone. But what I've done is I've specifically taken it and changed it and modified it, still within that framework, but specifically for business owners themselves, to create increased performance within their teams and within themselves. So that's specifically around anyone that's a coach or a consultant that can come and do that.
Yeah, because as you said, everything's really connected. What's happening in our personal life happens in our business. I know there used to be people were saying, "Oh, leave your personal life at home and leave your business life at work." But we're emotional beings, so that goes with us wherever we go.
Yeah, and I've seen that a lot with, at CEO levels. So they may have a great job where they're making a lot of money, but at home their relationships is not, with their partners not so great. So there's a piece of the puzzle missing for them to feel fulfilled and whole, and to be able to increase their performance at their work. So if they look at that more holistically, it creates change on a much more accelerated level.
Yeah, because if you want to be more effective at work, as I say, with the emotions are still going to be there. You can't switch them off. They're always going to be with you. So if things aren't going well at home, then you're going to be taking that to work, and that's going to impact on your concentration on the job. So you might be making money, but probably make a lot more money if you're able to sort out the other side of your life.
Absolutely. We're beings of logic. And so they both exist. They just need to integrate together. People need to learn how to integrate together, because they've gone through life through social conditioning and social norms and beliefs and certain things where they've learned to switch that off. So yeah, what I do is I help them to integrate both together for them to become whole, as people, to be able to be a better person and grow and create change, not only within themselves, but also helping others.
So I recently looked at some testing they'd been doing with people who had, or one person in particular, had a brain tumor. They'd removed it, and the part they removed actually took out the function where he could feel emotions. He could remember what his emotions were before that, but he couldn't feel it right now. And so the end result was that when they put him through some tests on decision making, he made a lot of mistakes because he was just based on the logic side of things and didn't realize that we all make our decisions mostly based on our emotions, and it's our emotions that actually help us to make better logical decisions, which I found is quite interesting. So you've really got to have the balance. Balance is probably not the right word, because I always think of balance as being a set of scales and there's no movement. So it's more a connection, an integration of the your personal, first of all, your emotions and your logic, but also then integration between your home life, your social life, your work life, etc. So bringing all that together. So
Yeah,
that's where
absolutely.
NLP helps you to do all that.
Yeah, so it's integrating the conscious and unconscious mind. That's what it is. Because at the moment, people are only operating out of the conscious mind, which is all logic and reasoning. And the unconscious mind is all emotions, where our beliefs, values, and our habits are all stored. So, and that's where the change occurs in that specific area of the mind. And majority of people try to create change based on a process or a step-by-step process that's logical and reasoning, when in fact they're only just scratching the surface, because what happens is the deeper structure, which is within the conscious mind, comes up to play again. And then you get people saying things like, why is this happening to me again? So it's being to identify things on a much more deeper structure, deeper level, to be able to clear that out.
Okay, so where can people find out more information about this and find out more information about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So on my website, which is www.mariavanviklis.com.
Okay.
There's plenty of information on there. There's a contact section where you can click if you want to have a chat. But yeah, all the social links are on there as well.
Yeah, well, I'll put the link in the comments, because Van Vluklis is not that easy to pronounce. I think I just got it wrong then as I tried to say it. So make sure we get the spelling right in there.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, because to the listeners out there, and that when we first started, my tongue just doesn't seem to go. I just keep saying, when I was married, I used to say, I've got the wife's teeth in. So that was my excuse. And I'm not married anymore, so I can't use that excuse. But I have a hell of a time with pronunciations at times. Incredible. And the more I focus on wanting to get it right, the more I screw it up. Isn't that natural? It seems to be typical of it. So there's got to be something there with the NLP that can help me on that one, maybe.
Well, we do have a strategy for that as well. So yeah, everything can be changed.
Excellent. Okay. Well, thanks very much, Maria. I've really appreciated you coming on and having a chat with us. And to everybody else who's been listening in out there, check Maria out and have a look at the website, and get in touch and ask a few questions if you have any there. Okay. Thank you very much, and we'll see you all in the next Campfire Project. Bye for now.